Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, I'm your host, Mrs. M. And if you haven't, make sure you click the link below. That way you can subscribe to my channel and not miss out on anything you need to scale your business to six figures and beyond. Pow! So today I am going to share my screen and do just a little bit of training. And I'm still focused on Q4 and I'm still focused on using AI to locate a lot of information. Now, one of the things about being really great is understanding what an AI agent is and a prompt engineer. Now, what I simply mean is when you're using AI, which is what I definitely know works for scaling your business in the GovCon world faster than you ever could imagine, is understanding that the prompts are what really make the difference. So if you're looking for information on something, the prompt, how you prompt the AI, whether you're using Chat GPT, I use Chat GPT 5, or whether you're using any of the other ones, there's so many. It depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for doing research and all that, Chat GPT 5 is fantastic. So I use it when it comes to doing anything and all things government, from putting in a quote and asking it to give me the pricing. I look over to make sure everything looks good, to asking it, writing a script. And one of the things I came and asked today was about subcontracting, specifically wanting to know what areas have the most subcontracting. And I extracted a little data. I'm going to share that with you today when we do our little mini training. So today, this is one of my favorite places, and this is subnet, what was called subnet.sba.gov. This one is where I use Chat GPT to extract some information and create a filter for me. Now, it does mean in order for you to do some of that, you have to put in certain prompts, and then you also have to have things set up like an AI agent, which means it's able to go into usaspending.gov and FPDS and other places because they don't have direct AI agents in there. But you can set it up as like an AI agent where it can extract information and you can do a filter. So I'm going to do an AI training really soon because I have been working with this for about 3 or 4 years behind the scenes, learning all the prompts and really getting great at becoming an expert when it comes to that. So there's still going to be the human aspect. That's where you have to physically get from behind your desk, walk into government buyers and get to know them. And we always start with the local area because you can really maintain those. Now, I'm going to give you 3 places and explain a little bit about why subcontracting opportunities are so great. When I first got started years ago, one of the greatest things was that I became a subcontractor for a very large contractor, prime contractor. They taught me so much. One of the things I loved about it is I didn't have the money to be able to pay the payroll and I needed the money fast. So I was able to write a contract up with them where they paid me in 2 weeks instead of waiting 90 days or 60 days, getting in the system. So if you need money right now, that's one of the great things. The other thing is they have a lot of task orders. That means things change and they got extension orders. They're not new, but change orders, task orders. So now you're there to help them with that. That's another great thing. And then you get a chance to see what's really going on, the behind the scenes. One of the mistakes I made is I opened a clothing store one time and I had never worked in a clothing store. I opened one and I had never worked in a clothing store. So, I mean, I'd been around clothes. I had tried on clothes. I bought clothes, but I didn't know what really was behind the scene when I was very young and I opened a clothing store. Once I did that, I realized the pricing, the type of merchandise, all of that, the location mattered so much. So once I understood, the best thing probably would have been to go work for a clothing store before I opened one. But I learned that a little late and then I had to learn it the hard way. That could be the same thing with your government. You might think you want to do government contracting. You might think it looks fun and interesting, and it is one of the best ways to scale your business using government contracts. I definitely know that's true. But it is also has a lot of different moving parts. So being a subcontractor, I know individuals that are subs on contracts for 10, 15 years before they become a prime, and they are extremely successful businesses. I mean, like 7, 8 figures, definitely high seven. So this is one of the ways is to subnet SBA, or like you want to say subnet.sba.gov. Now you can choose your area. And I had it drag to give me some areas when I went to AI. I put in my prompt to look for subcontracting opportunities in a specific area. That was what I put in. Now, when I teach my class for you guys, I'm going to give you a lot of the prompts that you want to use to get the information. The research and all of that and everything you extract from it is what you put in, how you set it up to extract the information. So one of the things is looking at here, I've got all 50 states, and I can choose what area. So if I want to put in Virginia, and if I put in North Carolina, it will bring up opportunities in North Carolina. So if I put in North Carolina, it'll bring up the opportunities in the North Carolina area. So let's take a look at what they're saying for North Carolina. So this is a solicitation number. That's the business name. This is the place of performance. This is the start date. This is the NAICS codes, and these are the other NAICS codes. This is the point of contact, the point of contact's name, and the email. Right here, we look at one that has a whole lot of additional NAICS codes. So they usually have the primary, and then they have the additional ones. You look at this, and this start date was 12/15/2024, and some of them are further out where you can plan, and some of them have been going on for a while. Now, a lot of these are what we consider the middleman at its finest. That means that they have really been great at obtaining the contracts, and they need you, small businesses, to fulfill them. Now, I get a lot of people that say, well, Subnet just puts these opportunities on there, and they're really not looking for real. Let's look at the numbers here. 20 to 30% of the opportunities on Subnet lead to actual contracts. The other 70 may be just what they put on because they have to fulfill legally, even under the Trump administration, by law, they have to prime contractors over 750,000. They have a contract over 750 and construction over 1.5 million have to by law put the opportunity for a portion of it to be done by a subcontractor. And they have to submit their small business subcontracting plans when they obtain that contract. So they may already have someone they want to work with, and so they have to put it out there, or they may be just getting some information for when they need someone later. But this is kind of the way the middleman really works when someone is doing on a large level. They've got a whole lot of varied different types of NAICS codes that they're looking for. Now, what can you do when you come to Subnet? What you can do is you can look at the opportunities. You can understand that you can put in a prompt and you can get opportunities that are available and match it up. So you can just look under AI and ask it to give you opportunities for prime contractors looking for subcontracting opportunities. They'll give you all that information, and they'll even give you the competition, like who is the current sub and different areas like that, if you put the right prompt in. When you do that, you're able to now, at the very least, you can see what someone is looking for. You can reach out to them. You can send your introduction letter. You can send your capability letter directly to them, directly to this POC, or give them a call. I would suggest sending an email first. Or what you can do is you can use this as a relationship building tool. You could know that these are actual prime contractors in your NAICS code, in your area, that you might go and see if they have industry days. Maybe you can meet them in person because they're in your state, and maybe you may be able to find them in your city. I always think you have a better chance of a face-to-face and meeting someone up close and personal, and that's always so much better. So Subnet can be utilized for a lot of different things. The other thing you can do is you can actually reach out to, and let's see if I can find that. You can actually reach out to, let's come here. So if I were looking for, let's say, the Department of Defense, that's the second one. So Office of Small Business Programs, one of the things they do is they do subcontracting plans as well. So DOD, all the agencies do a subcontracting plan. You can go to the Office of Small Business Programs, look at your agency, who your buyer is, and you're able to find what their plans are. Reach out to your OSDBUs, sending them your introduction letter and a capability statement that is tailored for that buyer. Remember, your case statement is a problem solver, not just a resume. When I look at that capability statement in 6 seconds, I should know what problem you're going to solve for me. The other thing you want to look at is doing a little reverse engineering when it comes to usaspending.gov and FPDS. You can see prime contractors on here. And so you can put in the filters, go in. I did security guards, and you can see prime contractors on here that are, you can put in certain filters that are prime contractors, and you can reach out to them and you can do reverse engineering. You see these primes are actually been awarded these contracts, and you can find out when they're getting ready to expire, and you can see if it cross references over to some openings on sam.gov. And once again, if you have a very, very good capability statement, it's a door opener. It sets up the conversation. So all of these are tools that I use in Q4 in my free Q4 training. I have one next week. I think it's like the 26th yeah, like the 26th, where I go over all this for like 90 minutes. I get into AI, I get into state, pooled contracts, all of that, absolutely free, still trying to get you to win a contract in Q4. Absolutely doable. So just remember, you can do reverse engineering with FedEx, FPDS and USspending.gov. You can actually go to Subnet. 20 to 30% of opportunities do lead to contract opportunities. You can look at Subnet as a way to also build relationships. You then can actually go to the subcontracting plans of the agencies. And this is where you want to use a small business program specialist, and you want to use your OSDBUs by letting them know that you're interested in an opportunity and you're a great fit for it by doing what? Having your introduction letter, your crafted signature offer, like why you, and that falls under your differentiators, and your CAPE statement that is tailored for that opportunity, that is a problem solver. So if you have all that, you should definitely do very well when it comes to winning that contract. And so if you want to learn more, then make sure you sign up for my upcoming Q4 special training, where I take a lot more time to go into this and walk you through how to set these filters up. So until next time, be safe and take care. Bye-bye.